it. So we've got the gesso put on for the mountains. It takes a little bit longer to dry. So basically what we've done is we've sealed the paper. So the watercolour, which we put on top, will sit on top of the gesso. And if you've got a sort of sample bit that you've put, we can put colour on. Say it doesn't act the same way as it does onto watercolour paper, because it's not soaking in. But the thing about it is that if you put something on and you don't like it, you can almost just get rid of the whole thing.
I'll be doing a lot of that.
So I've got my mountains here. So because I've got quite a lot of pink in the sky, I'm going to stick with that magenta colour or purpley colour, and I'm just going to go over the gesso line. And say it doesn't work the same as if it was just on paper. You can see already how it's a little bit different as it goes on.
How'd you get that purple? Is it a purple one or is it a...
So a bit of red and blue. So a bit of your alizarin, or if you've got a purple or a dioxine purple. I used quite a bit of magenta, so magenta and a blue will mix up a nice purple colour. So I'm trying to keep the colour palette similar. I've just got a smaller brush here, so I'm just putting some purple into that. You can see it sort of pulls a little bit. So what I can do is, if I want to have, we've sort of got, well, I suppose we've got the sort of the light coming through from this side, we've got a little bit of blue in there. So what I can do is I can just take off a little bit of paint on this left hand side. You can see you can almost get right back to the white of the gesso here. So we'll just lighten up those sides a little bit. Again, so wash your brush, dry it off, and just lift it off. And we've got a little bit of a lighter edge. They're in the distance, so they're going to be quite misty and purpley and grey. If your gesso is still a bit wet, it will mix in. I've done that there, and I can just darken up these other sides a little bit more now. Dioxine purple, I can just add that in. And then if I take a green, something like a dark green, hooker's green, I'm just going to mix that in with the purple a little bit. And as things get closer towards you, you see a bit more colour in them. I'm using my smaller brush so I can mix those in. Again, we're going to get a sort of grey colour. If you remember, your primaries will make grey. So your red, yellow and blue will make grey. I've got purple, which is red and blue, and I've got green, which is yellow and blue. So if those are mixed together, I'm going to get a bit of a grey tone to this green. So you can see you get some nice sort of textural bits appearing with the gesso there. So we could.
Different, actually, yeah.
different feel to how the paint goes on the paper, isn't it? So I could make this into a bit of water here. Again, we want to try and keep it nice and neutral with the colours. So this is my grey here that I had mixed up before. Leave some areas of white to suggest ripples on the water. Again, this is on the gesso, so it does work quite differently. Use your flat brush as well. And we want to have a bit of the same colours reflected in, so I can go in with a bit of that green here where the mountains are. And then go in with a bit of that purple mix that I've got. Now some of you put a beach here, some of you had got using the gesso as a beach type pale sand, like you get up in Scotland. You get beautiful beaches, don't you? But it's usually cold and raining. And if you've got a flat brush, which I've got one somewhere, so just damp it a little bit, and again we can just lift off a few sort of ripples to suggest that it's water. Nice narrow edge to our flat brush.
Sorry Rose, what colour did you use underneath the first layer of the mountains?
So this was a purple colour, so a bit of red and blue,
Yeah,
or you've probably got magenta and a bit of dioxine purple or violet in your mix of colours. You've done that. Then I used a green. It was a, they call it yellow green in the White Knights, or hooker's green, something sort of quite a natural dark green. And then the grey again for the water, and then a little bit of the same colours to suggest the reflection. So a damp brush, we can just lift off